But I am going to state you Newton's first law of motion today. Students, what is the statement for Newton's first law? It is said that if a body continues to be in state of rest, alright, if a body continues to be in a state of rest or of uniform motion, it is not about variable motion. Uniform motion, variable motion, okay. In both, this is applicable. A body continues to be in a state of rest or of uniform motion, है ना? So, in a straight line, okay, in a straight line, unless any external agent of force acted upon it. Students, this is the statement for Newton's first law. This is the statement. My dear students, we cannot change this statement. Statement is very important and it must be written the way it is given. Okay? The way it is published in the book. You cannot change this statement because this is not the colloquial form of or informal way of saying the statement stated by Sir Isaac Newton. The way it is represented, a statement should be written in the similar way. Okay? Now students, we will understand, suppose that if a book is lying on the table, this is a book and this is lying over the table. Now this book is in which state? We will say this book is having state of rest and this state cannot be changed until unless I am not applying any external agent, which is force. Alright, if I will pick this book in my hand and placing it to the other table, like here, this is table 1, this is table 2. If I pick this book and keep it here from table 1 to table 2, without force, can I make it move? No, it is not possible. It is not possible. So Newton's first law states that if any body is in a state of rest, it will be in a state of rest. Suppose for time t equal to 0 second, okay, the book is observed, the book's position is observed in the form of state of rest. After 50 seconds, when t becomes 50 seconds, alright, from 0 to 50 seconds, again you are watching, you are seeing that the position of book is right intact on the table 1. We cannot say that the position is getting changed. Why? Because a book cannot change itself, its position. Whatever time is gone by, okay, the passage of time is gone by, it is not going to matter. So the force, until unless is not getting applied, this book cannot be transformed, cannot be transposed from table 1 to table 2. Alright, the state of rest has come into state of motion, that is why this has reached to table 2. Alright, now another statement that if a body is in uniform motion or variable motion, it is not just about the uniform motion. Uniform motion in a straight line, it is said like that. But suppose that if any car is moving with certain having some velocity, suppose v equal to 20 meter per second, okay, and this is Chandan Quarry square, Chandan Quarry square, all of a sudden what happens that this car is stopped all of a sudden. As you can see, a lot of crowd in the square. After covering some of the distance from Chandan Quarry square to another square, suppose this is what you can say any other name, okay? It is Chas Road, Chandan Quarry. So here, by traveling down from this to this position, what will happen? Surely, if a huge number of crowd rush you find in middle of this, what will happen? The uniform motion, okay, containing velocity of 20 meter per second, all right, all of a sudden you find a car in front of the car. What you will apply? You will apply the brake for converting the car in motion to standstill position, right? To standstill position, what you will do? You will apply the brake. So applying the brake is one sort of external agent, which is force. So the motion in a car is coming into standstill position from motion to rest. So this transposition of a state from motion to rest is just because of this force which we have applied in the form of brake. So statement is, if a body continues to be in a state of rest, it will be continuing in a state of rest. If it is in motion, it will remain in motion until unless external agent of force is not applied over that body. Okay, students? Now, students, Newton's first law of motion is also known as Galileo's law of inertia. Galileo's law of inertia. Okay? Because this first law has derived from Galileo's experiment that we discussed, Galileo's law of motion. Okay? So it is considerably known as Galileo's law of inertia. Now students, from this Newton's first law, we can conclude definition for force. And this definition is very quantitative. Quantitative definition. What we can call? Quantitative definition. Quantitative definition of force. How can we define this one? We will say that force is a something which can change the state of rest, which can change the state of rest or of uniform motion okay, of a body. So students, this is also known as Galileo's law of inertia, and it gives us quantity definition of force. And force is known as, it is some agent which can change the state of a body or a state of rest or of uniform motion of a body. Now students, we will talk about the Newton's second law of motion. Students, in Newton's first law, we have understood that Newton gives us the definition of force but in the quantitative measures. But in the Newton's second law of motion, okay, he gives us a method of measuring force. Okay, Newton's second law of motion, what gives us? Method of measuring force. Yes, method of measuring force. Don't forget, What is the contribution according to the first law? What is the contribution according to the second law? And what is the contribution according to the third law? So method of measuring force is a key factor in Newton's second law. Okay. Now we will speak about the Newton's second. In the Newton's second law of motion, experimentally it was observed. How? Experimentally. I will show you how I am saying that experimentally it is observed. Experimentally it is observed that the acceleration, alright? Do you understand what I have written? Acceleration produced in a body, is directly proportional to the unbalanced force. Is it directly proportional to the unbalanced force? Okay, to the unbalanced force. That means what? Acceleration in a body is directly proportional to the unbalanced force. And this, which force? This one. This force is applied force. So applied force, when force applied on a body, yes. Now, and it is inversely proportional as well to the mass of the body. Okay, and inversely proportional to the mass of a body, I am talking about what? I am talking about the acceleration. The whole statement is meant for Newton's second law, and this is the statement. And what not to do? We cannot change the statement. It is found experimentally that the acceleration produced in a body is directly proportional to the unbalanced force applied on a body and inversely proportional to the mass of the body. I am going to explain you. What is the point number one? The point number one is saying acceleration produced. So A is directly proportional to unbalanced force. That means F. And point number two is acceleration is inversely proportional to the mass of body. That means 1 by m. How? You need explanation for understanding this law. Yes. How? Let's see. Let's understand. Okay. Have you played the carom ever? Surely you would have played at home carom. When you flick the striker, alright? When you flick the striker with your finger, this is striker, alright? And this is one of the small balls. So this is supposed to be flicked by the finger, and this striker, when the force is applied greater, suppose you have applied force equal to 5 Newton, alright, and it strikes this small ball and producing the large acceleration. Okay, force equal to 5 Newton. So acceleration, suppose that it is also 5 meters per second square. If I am applying the gentle push, a force of just merely 1 Newton, and let us understand that acceleration is producing from the striker to this small sort of a ball, producing 1 meter per second square. What we can understand? If I am applying the greater force, I am having greater acceleration. If I am having the lesser force, I will have the lesser acceleration. It means what? Acceleration is directly proportional to the force. Are you understanding, students? Acceleration is directly proportional to the force. So point number one is clear, I hope. Now, the point number two. Acceleration is inversely proportional to the mass of the body. Have I told you that mass is the measure of inertia. Do you remember that? I have told you this slide in the previous classes. Suppose that this is the toy car. This is toy car. This is toy car, and it is very lighter in weight. Yes, lighter in mass. Lighter in mass. Now suppose that this is a big car, original car. This is original car. Surely the mass of a body, suppose it is 50 gram, and the mass of this original car, okay, approx 500 kg. Suppose now if I will apply the 5 Newton force on this, okay, this will travel a longer distance, okay, from one position to another position. If I will apply the same force of 5 Newton, will this original car be displaced to the another position? No. Okay, the mass is greater, so I have to increase the what? X. I have to increase the force. So this force will be surely, suppose it is a 50 Newton. So 5 Newton force is producing 5 meter per second square. Alright, 50 Newton force will be producing, 5 Newton force will be not able to produce 5 meter per second square in the original car. So I will have to apply the greater force, 50 Newton. So after applying the 50 Newton force, this original car can be moved from one to another body. Okay. So what is the key factor here? We will say that mass is the measure of inertia. Okay. Mass is the measure of inertia. So in the smaller toy car, if the acceleration is mass is very low, then acceleration is maximum. All right, but if the mass is getting greater, the acceleration will be lowered, will be lesser. So it is inversely proportional. From equation 1 and equation 2, what we can write? We can write, students, from 1 and 2, A proportional to F by M. If I will have to remove this proportion sign, what I can write? In place of equal to, I have to put the constant term K, so K into F by M. Okay, so we can write, students, F and where K equal to 1. So I can write A equal to F by M. So here F equal to M into A. So this is the formula for calculating the force if the mass is given and acceleration is given. So students, this is the Newton's second law of motion. We have a lot of things to discuss in this category, in this topic, but we cannot cover all the topics in this much of the class. So in the next class, I will discuss and lengthen the topic in the best and utmost possible scope. Thank you very much. Okay.